Hi guys, I'm back with another video. I'm doing a redraw of this picture, and I did this picture years ago, and during the time I had really leveled up my painting skills. It was one of my first line artless pieces, and I still love it, honestly. It's still one of my favorite pieces, which is why I chose it to do a redraw. I have been working on my art style because I haven't been very happy with it. I know I've mentioned that in a few videos where I have been, with my comic, I've been doing a lot of things really fast and dirty, which has helped me a lot with my speed greatly. For instance, I did a picture of this character, Milano, about 6 months ago, and it took me 8 to 10 hours. And I obsessed over the details and making it perfect and things like that, where this one took me about 3 hours. So laziness isn't detrimental to an artist. You're finding ways to cut out bullshit, you know? You're finding ways to better your skills quicker. At least that's what I think. So I have been unhappy with my painting and my art style recently, and typically whenever I find that I'm unhappy, and I think this goes for a lot of artists, is means that you're leveling up. You are seeing mistakes with a more masterful eye, and therefore you're not happy with how things are looking. So I always kind of get excited when I all of a sudden, like I go through phases where I really love my art and I think, oh my God, my art's so beautiful, it's so great. And then I go through phases where I'm like, this is crap. It's okay, because it typically means that you have been making mistakes and now it's time to learn from them. So I went on this journey. I've been doing some DLA studies, and I was, I broke the mold. I did a grayscale painting and, colored it. It was grayscale to color. And I followed tutorials. That picture you saw was me following a tutorial. And one of the tutorials that helped me out actually quite a bit was Ross Draws. He just dropped a skin tutorial. And something about the way he explains it was kind of like an aha moment for me. I've been in the animation industry for 12 years. Yes, 12 years. I had to do math real quick. Um, and, I went to art school, and you get kind of sometimes the same spiel hammered into you. But the way Ross was explaining some lighting in his video was kind of like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And why, and looking back at some of my pieces, like I have that lighting in there, but I don't have it in all of them. And I, it was kind of just something that I did, but now I'm like, oh, but now it makes sense as to why it's in there. And that was the skylight, your area light that kind of comes in at the top. So that was just kind of a, aha moment. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. The way he explained it was just really well done. So I followed that tutorial for my last piece, and I really liked how the end result was, my bust of Macaria. And so I then decided, okay, well, I really liked how I did this piece. Now let me do a full body piece, and try not to refer, don't, not to watch the tutorial. Don't, and obviously I refer to this piece quite a bit to see like my process and like my layering. And that was to refresh my memory on things, which that's fine, but I was trying to kind of drill it into memory, which is a great way to work. If you're trying to, if you follow a tutorial and you do something, then you repeat the exact process, but you try not to, but you don't follow the tutorial. You do it all from memory. And you kind of see what were, what's, it just sticks to your mind. Sorry, I'm rambling. Um, I don't know the science behind it, but I'm sure there's science behind it. Um, that's just always been a great way for me to learn in general. Um, so that's just always been something I've done. If something works for me, I then do another version of it, maybe in a larger scale, and I try to do it from memory, and then I can kind of go back and I can compare the pieces, and be like, oh, okay, this I missed this step, you know. And I know I use that for my work every day. I am a VFX compositor, so I will, if I'm doing a shot that I've never done before, I typically will look at someone else's shot and kind of see how their workflow was, how they did it. I want to see what what was going on in their mind at the time. And I will kind of look through it, and then I will do it. And then I compare. Does this look the same? Because it's very important in the film industry, is things have to look the same. So you have to make things look the same. So I compare, and where things don't look the same, I make sure, oh, okay, I have to fix this. And when you typically, if you have a lot of shots in that sequence that are very similar, you go on to your next shot, and then you do it again, and you do it from memory, and then you compare at the end, and it just gets easier and easier and easier. So that's just something that I've learned to do on the job. So that really comes into my paintings. When I'm trying to level up, I do that as well. And this piece is, for the most part, successful. I mean, I definitely learned a lot. There's things that I wouldn't do again. I don't like separating I separated the skin and shaded the skin. I separated the hair and shaded the hair. I don't like that workflow. That's just not me. I like having one shading layer and doing all of my shading value on one layer, because then it could be continuous. I prefer that. So it's just kind of learning as you go. So I think there was a lot of successful pieces to this. I think the next time, if I were to redo this in a couple of years, I would probably use reference for her pose, because every time I flipped it, I was like, oof, something's wrong here. But I also just didn't care enough to fix. I did fix some of it, but I also just didn't care enough to fix all of it, I guess. So the next time I redo this picture in a few years, I will use reference for her posing and everything like that, and maybe even do a lighting reference, and really kind of work on using references for lighting, because that's not something that I do often, and I'm sure would help level up my skill set even more. So that's kind of it for me, guys. I'm gonna leave you with some music to finish off the painting. Have a good one, and if there's anything that you want to see from me, art-wise or comic-wise, comment down below, and subscribe. I do I'm going through my process of my comic and what that entails, so that's always something to look forward to. And I will see you next time. Have a good one.